State workers in Argentina announced a new national strike to protest the policies of Javier Milei's government. The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has announced that thousands of its employees will be furloughed due to a reduction in staff. And in Palestine, a crowd welcomed more than 640 prisoners released from Israeli jails as part of the ceasefire agreement in Gaza. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. The Confederation of State Workers in Argentina has announced a new national strike to protest the policies of Javier Milei's government. The organization assured they will remain in the streets to try to stop the adjustments that are destroying the social and productive fabric of the nation. They also affirmed that the actions are aimed at recovering the salaries and pensions that have been taken away from them by Milei's government. The union explained that the surprise factor of these demonstrations intends to avoid the repression unleashed against those who demand respect for their rights. The government of Venezuela described as harmful and inexplicable the U.S. decision to cancel the agreements for oil operations between the two countries. Referring to the alleged infringement of the preset conditions, the United States announced its decision to suspend the license given to U.S. companies such as Chevron Oil Company to operate in Venezuelan territory. Venezuelan officials have pointed out that the U.S. arguments lack evidence and show the imperialist spirit of these decisions, which harm not only Venezuela but the U.S. people as well. The concession had been granted on November 26, 2022 by the Biden administration. In this context, the Executive Vice President of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, expressed through her social networks, this February 26th, the government of the United States has made a harmful and inexplicable decision by announcing sanctions against the U.S. company Chevron, pretending to harm the Venezuelan people. It is actually harming the United States, its population, and its companies, also calling into question the legal security of the United States in its international investment regime. In turn, Rodriguez stated that the constitutional government of Venezuela and its people in great national union categorically rejects this type of actions publicly requested by the country's extremist and failed opposition. Venezuela emphasizes that these type of failed actions drove the migration of the years 2017 to 2021 with widely known consequences. Venezuela will continue on its path of integral economic recovery, warranting it with the creative effort of all in an absolute adherence to its sovereignty and national independence. And the ALBA TCP bloc issued an official statement rejecting the U.S. decision to revoke oil licenses granted to U.S. companies to operate in Venezuelan territory. In this way, the bloc stated that the ALBA TCP categorically rejects this extortionist action which seeks to harm the economic, political and social stability of the sister Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. They also underlined that ALBA TCP considers it extremely contradictory that the current government of the United States, which boasts so much about its policies to control migration to its territory, imposes measures to affect the oil industry, the heart of the Venezuelan economy, while disregarding the fact that similar actions in past years caused notable migratory flows to the United States. They ended by demanding respect to Venezuelan sovereignty. And the president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, condemned the aggressions of fascism against the Venezuelan people, reaffirming his commitment to the defense of the national territory to continue advancing in the strengthening of all sectors nationwide.
Avanzar como pueblo, porque somos pueblo, nosotros sí somos un pueblo.
Moving forward as a people because we are people. We are conscious people who has been united, strengthened and victorious in all battles. We are like David. I always say so to the Goliaths worldwide. I always say to them, here is David blessed by God with all their strength, and with all the blessings and the blessings of all the people. Here is David against Goliath. The great David is the Venezuelan people, and its power and its civic military police union that no one messes with Venezuela. No one messes again with Venezuela. And those fascists requesting aggressions toward our country, they will be brought to justice. They will have to be brought to justice. Those fascists urging to attack Venezuela. Venezuela cannot be attacked. Venezuela cannot be touched. Venezuela must be respected. And we must make our country be respected in order to continue advancing in each of our plans.
And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has announced that thousands of its employees will be furloughed due to a reduction in staff. Faced with the scandal of misappropriation of funds, the international organization announced in a communique that almost 1,600 of its staff would be dismissed. In addition, the staff will be screened by a magnetometer and X-ray machine before entering the premises to remove their belongings, accompanied by security guards. The agency explained that they will only be able to remove their personal belongings without the possibility of taking any documents, materials, or objects that are considered government property. U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday confirmed the visit on February 28th of his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky to the White House, where they are scheduled to rubricate an agreement on rare earth and plans for Ukraine's post-conflict reconstruction. During his first official cabinet meeting of his second term, Trump thanked Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick for reaching this agreement. He also rebuked Joe Biden's previous administration for its 3-year spending spree and said his administration will focus on recovering that funding. Trump said he will not give any more money to Ukraine. The White House has insisted that the U.S. must take control of Ukraine's rare earth, a series of reserves containing some of the key minerals for the new technology industry. The Russian and the United States delegations met Thursday in Turkey as part of the approaching process of the parties on the conflict with Ukraine. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that the meeting will address the systemic problems that have accumulated as a result of the illegal activities of the former U.S. administration in creating artificial obstacles to the work of the Russian embassy. For his part, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said last Monday that the White House is preparing to begin to outline what Russia would need to do to deal with the conflict in Ukraine. The first talks between the two delegations took place last February 18th in Saudi Arabia and have been described as very positive by the representatives of both countries. Japanese authorities ordered Wednesday the evacuation of some 2,100 people in the northeastern Orfinato city due to the spreading of a wildfire that threatens nearby homes. The public broadcaster NHK reported the fire broke out at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, local time, and it is estimated to be started in a work shed and from there fanned to a wooden area. Authorities ordered the evacuation of 904 nearby houses, affecting 2,114 people. Several wildfires have broken out in both Orfinato and Birdusuken-Takaya cities. In Afghanistan, the Taliban government reported 36 deaths and over 40 others injured as a result of flash floods stemmed from torrential rains in several domestic regions. Mullah Janan Sajek, spokesperson for the Ministry of Disaster Management, informed that the account just comprises victims registered from Monday through Tuesday. Moreover, the diplomat said having no further records of increasing casualties. The southwestern Farar province was one of the hardest hit by rainstorms, so the local death toll there pushed up to 20. In addition, authorities estimated damages in housing and agricultural harvest, namely over 240 full shattered houses and 61 partially devastated. Likewise, they warned that snow had blocked several roads. The United Nations World Food Programme WFP temporarily called off food aid distribution in the Zamzam camp for displaced people in Western Sudan. The WFP Regional Director for Eastern Africa, Laurent Bukera, warned that this decision could result in the death of thousands of families in the upcoming weeks. The authority further stressed the need to resume delivery of life-saving aid in and around Zamzam safely, quickly and at a scale, ensuring the safety of humanitarian organizations. Such call came after Doctors Without Borders suspended their activities due to the fact that the paramilitary group Rapid Support Forces had set them as targets. Overall, United Nations experts estimated the two-year conflict has caused not only over 12 million displaced but also famine to the rest of the population. The Vatican Press Office announced early Thursday that Pope Francis has experienced a new and slight improvement according to the medical report from Rome's Gemelli Hospital, where he is being treated. After being admitted to hospital on February 14th for bronchitis with polymicrobial infection and then bilateral pneumonia, Francisco's state of health has improved over the last 24 hours. Computed tomography scan of his chest carried out on Wednesday night showed a normal evolution of his lung condition, although he continues to receive oxygen, although there is no respiratory crisis. They also detailed that the renal insufficiency has improved and that he is no longer in a critical condition. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, we'll be right back. Welcome back to From the South. In Palestine, a crowd welcomed more than 640 prisoners released from Israeli jails as part of the ceasefire agreement in Gaza. Around midnight on Wednesday, hundreds of Palestinian relatives gathered in the vicinity of the Cultural Palace in Ramallah to welcome the released prisoners. The liberation was originally scheduled for last Saturday, but Israel delayed it. According to the Prisoners Information Office, the number of Palestinians released in this seventh and last round of the first phase of the agreement is 641 prisoners. Meanwhile, Israeli media confirmed the reception of the bodies of the 4 Israeli hostages handed over by the Hamas movement. Palestinian authorities in Gaza warned of crisis due to cold rains and supply shortage. Health authorities report the death of 6 infants in the last week due to low temperatures and the lack of heating methods due to the fuel shortage. Mohammed Abu Afash, the director of medical aid in the Gaza Strip, warned about the poor conditions in which the Gazan population is living due to difficulties in accessing the basic supplies necessary for human life. The official stressed that about 60,000 mobile homes and 200,000 tents are needed to shelter the thousands of families left homeless as a result of the Israeli aggression. In Lebanon, the government led by Nawaf Salam received the confidence of the parliament on Wednesday. The debate session also included an extensive debate on the ministerial program, during which 48 legislators intervened. The program highlighted the commitment of the government to the defense of the country, respect for international treaties, and the full implementation of United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701. At the end of the session, Salam stressed the need to strengthen both the confidence of citizens and legislators. In Doha, capital of Qatar, the 10th General Assembly of the Global Public Diplomacy Network continues. At the event, which takes place from February 25th to 27th, the organization's member countries will draw up a roadmap for the 2025-2030 working period. The Assembly seeks to boost international cooperation, focusing on the cultural area, the exchange of knowledge, and the promotion of the arts. In parallel, the main summit, a meeting of international journalists and media, is being held, to which participants from different global regions were invited to discuss the challenges of communication nowadays.
I found it very enriching because, apart from the fact that we did not know that organization, the GPD net has tried to connect different countries in cultural and art matters. I think the entity is doing a great work, so that we are on the right track.
GPD net's work for 10 years has been paramount to strengthen links in terms of culture, communication, and heritage between different nations. But of course it needed to be made visible.
The Colombian journalist and president of teleSUR, Patricia Villegas, attended the meeting as a guest to debate on media communication.
In the particular case of teleSUR, to be here is to be able to link with outlets and journalists from different global regions so that we can share these goals. In addition, we can transfer our ideas and our enthusiasm so that every time media outlets, in general, all means of communication have human contents, have contents that make us essentially human, and therefore media outlets have contents that give hope. In Brazil, preparations continue for Carnival 2025 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Several Brazilian samba schools are rehearsing what will be their caravans for the traditional carnival parades starting this Saturday, March 1st. The Ministry of Tourism highlights the importance of the event in strengthening various economic sectors, such as street vendors and hotels, as well as mobilizing national and international tourists. The Carnival of Rio de Janeiro, the world's showcase of these festivities, will have 482 carnival blocks to welcome around 8 billion visitors, along with cities such as Sao Paulo, Minas Gerais, and Pernambuco. And with this information, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.